22 episodes of the seasonal anime checkup OVA. Hello, it's a new episode. Welcome. I'm Jared, joined as always by the coolest co-host in the world, Soldier Boy. Tell him it's Ladyem.
Oh my god, I can't believe you just introduced me that way.
We've been talking about Soldier Boy off the air,
as
you do, before you record a podcast. Because why not? Sometimes you just have to think, what's Soldier Boy doing these days? And then you look it up and you're like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
So hello, welcome to this rousing edition of the Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, manga, and today we're going to talk. Yes, today we're going to talk about quite a few games.
Yep.
5, to be specific. Or 4.5.
Yeah.
Because the last 2, quote unquote, could technically be one game, considering just how weird they are.
Well, and technically we're going to talk about why we're not talking about another game.
That's true as well. We did mention this last week at the very end when we were like, what are we going to talk about? Who knows? That's a good question. We mentioned the Caligula Effect, which did come out last week. I don't know why that was such a tongue twister. And we did play it.
Yep.
And we didn't get far.
Nope.
I got a little bit farther than you did.
Yep.
Now, before I was just like, you should stop playing.
I kept texting you my irritation, and you were like, Al, stop. Al, yeah. Stop putting yourself through this. Put it down. Stop.
Because each time I was like, no, you are okay to stop playing. And you're like, well, I'm doing this now. I'm like, Al, stop it. Stop playing. You don't have to play anymore. And you're like, okay, but what if I finish this chapter? Like, it's no.
Well, and you also have to consider that the entire time that this conversation was going on, I'm like, I don't really like this. I don't like this at all. I'm not having fun. I'm not having a lot of fun. And then, so I'm like, I'm not having fun. Should I keep playing? You're like, no, you shouldn't keep playing. But I'm doing this. Should I keep playing? I'm not having fun. But it's true. I wasn't having fun at all. I probably would have had more fun beating my head against a wall repeatedly.
I might go back to that game at some point just to see exactly like how it plays out, considering playing on the easy mode, which the game kind of shames you for trying to play on easy mode, which is real dumb. But games that do that are just dumb. Like, don't do that.
No, it makes me mad because one of the things is, for one, I have very limited time to play games, and two, I am already a huge ball of anxiety as it is, so I don't want to have to feel forced to beat myself up over a game. So it for one, it like I said, it's a real big anxiety thing to be like, you shouldn't do this, it's a bad thing. And two, I mostly play games for stories. Like every once in a while I'll play a game that's not a story, like Mario Kart. But I mostly play games for stories, and so my best method for these is to get through it pretty quickly and pretty painlessly so that I'm not just irritated. So I was kind of mad that it was like, don't play on easy mode, it's not recommended. It's like, you're not recommended.
Yeah, it's basically like, oh, you shouldn't do this for a full playthrough. And basically, you will be overpowered. Like, I finished up the Chapter 2 boss in one turn, which, sure, if you're a person who likes to have a challenge to your games, that's going to be a bummer. You're not going to want to play it that way. For me, I don't give a shit. So, being able to kind of, storm through that game was A-okay with me. But I think our main problem with that game was, the combat kind of got real repetitive real quick. It definitely needed something like the first 2 Persona games have this, where it's you can repeat commands and just use that as your basic battle strategy instead of having to go through and re-implement everything. Especially if you're just grinding, you don't need to necessarily do the same thing over and over and over again. It's here, just hit this button, repeat everything we just did, and the game will just do that. Especially because you can kind of chain attacks together for 3 different attacks, and especially once you get 4 people in your party, that's 12 different inputs you have to do each individual time, and it grinds the combat down to just a halt, and it's just like, and basically I
Yeah,
was doing like the exact same like attacks each
the
time
exact same
anyway,
move over
so
and over
it didn't
because
really
they're the
matter.
effective ones.
Yeah, exactly. It just didn't really matter. So I was like, bam, 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 bam. Like that game really needs like a repeat function because it would make that game so it would make it flow so much better. The idea that you could basically become friends with everybody, like hundreds of characters in that game, is like super overwhelming. And
Yep.
other than the fact that like it'll give you like skills for your characters and stuff like that, I don't really see how that would be necessarily. Also, you can basically take any individual character and put them in your party, which
Yeah,
seems
I did get to that.
kind of crazy. And also, like they don't seem that powered at all. So like, why bother unless you're doing a quest with them and all that sort of stuff. But then even then, it's just like there's way too many people to do this with. Like it's like if you took Persona and basically were like, okay, what if you could social link with literally all these NPCs, like in each individual NPC, not
Right.
just the ones like that you can like go out and talk to, obviously.
And it's really annoying because to like raise your affinity with these people, you just repeat the same conversations over and over and over. It's like, hey, I did this thing with a guidance counselor, then it black screens, and then it's like you raised points because you had a fun chat. And I'm like, that wasn't a fun chat, but it's literally the same exact conversation over and over and over and over and over with every single person. Then in addition to that, there's this like really bull texting mechanic
Yeah,
that like after playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions with, I know I keep talking about Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but after playing that and seeing how that texting mechanic worked, like I feel like that's ideal. And this one, you just like choose a response to these people, and it wouldn't actually respond to what they're saying at all. It was just like a general feeling thing, and it was really annoying. I had person that like they were asking me if I had any like anime recommendations. Like, okay. And my answers are like, what's going on? How are you feeling? And like, no. No, I want to actually be able to have a conversation. Like, what's the point of this if like I just giving these people canned responses? Like it's not fun. It's not engaging, it's not entertaining.
it's basically just it's not a conversation. And the one thing that kind of really hampers that as well is that you can use that to bump up like your status with a person, like your friendship
Yep.
meter, I guess. But it's very random and like choosing like which one it actually works with, and even then, it's like it's a smidge of like a bump in the meter, so it's basically not worth it. Even like the part where you can like text like the group of like people you fight with and everything, like okay, what do I need to do next? It's still very vague and like telling you what you need to do, which is really really dumb. And like the game doesn't really start off real fast either. Like story wise, it's kind of real slow and kind of has that
Yeah.
the same problems that like some of the Persona games have had lately. And also it seems like it has like its hands in too many different types of media. Like part of it wants to be Tokyo Mirage Sessions, part of it wants to be Persona, part of it wants to be like this dark magical girl show, kind of like Madoka Magica. Part of it wants to be like Fire Emblem, where you can like have all these relationships with people. Part of it wants to be Pokemon, where you can capture and be friends with all of these different people. Like it's way too much stuff that the game doesn't really, or at least early on, isn't able to do well in any of those
Yeah.
sorts of things.
It has a lot of stuff and it masters none of it perfectly. So, it I really just I don't think that I'm gonna go back to it. I'll be honest with you. I tried. I gave it a fair shake, probably more than I should have. And I will say that some of the character designs are kind of cool, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not talking about Caligula Effect this week.
This week. But instead, it took us like a month.
It did.
But finally, we're going to do that Zelda episode.
Yay, Zelda, my favorite.
Just kidding. We're actually switching it up and doing something else this week.
I will fight you.
So, like, the premise of this episode has basically been, like, it would have worked better, like, a month ago, probably, or earlier than that. Recently, I'd played through a bunch of, like, the earlier Zelda games. So, Legend of Zelda, Zelda II, Link to the Past, and then Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. So, and especially 1 and 2, and then the Oracle games was kind of back to back to back, back.
Yep.
So like that's kind of like why this episode kind of came about. Then I think we played Link to the Past like at the beginning of the year or like end of late last year, somewhere around that time.
I think so, because it was like, hey, 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 hey.
It was the classic,
Why,
yeah, the classic
why
Al
aren't you playing
strategy of why haven't you played this game? You should play this game. Why aren't you playing it right now? Play this game right now.
I'll play it with you.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about Link to the Past is that, like, I think I beat it in like a day or something, and you're like, you're not playing it with me anymore. What are you doing?
You have played that game so much that you basically know where like everything is. So
I
like,
haven't
yeah, you haven't memorized. So you're just like, beep, 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 beep. I'm just like, how do I get to dungeon 1? Help.
But it's great because I could tell you exactly how to get to dungeon 1. But I did think it was funny that we were playing it together, and you were like, where'd you go, man? Like,
You're just like,
we're
I'm
not playing
done.
together. I'm like, whoops, my bad.
I mean, that's just gonna happen sometimes. Like, especially with a game, as well known as that is, and especially I guess for you, because how iconic it was for you growing up. Like, you obviously put like so much time into it. You just basically like, pew, pew, and you're done.
Well, and it's one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
So there's also that. I may have talked about this before. I'm not 100% sure, but so the summer that Link to the Past came out, we'll talk about something after this. But the summer that Link to the Past came out, my brother and I and my cousin Addie, we had the Super Nintendo. We got Link to the Past, and we legitimately spent the entire summer just passing out the controller, figuring out puzzles, playing that game. So it's got a lot of really good memories, and that's why I got the whole Link tattoo on my back from Link to the Past, is because it's super important to me. And like I said, one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
So that was a wink, by the way, guys.
See, I would have been too young to have an experience like that, because
you're not that much younger than me.
I mean, well, I didn't get my Super Nintendo until like 94.
Oh, okay. And it came out in 92.
Yeah, so I mean, I would have been 2 years old at that point. I would not have been able to play that game, really.
I mean, I played Mickey Mousecapade when I was like an infant.
Well, hush. Also, I didn't buy Link to the Past until I was like 16.
Wow.
So like that was never a game I had that I played growing up. Like, because for me it was all like, because I got the Super Nintendo that came built in with Super Mario World, obviously, which greatest game ever made, arguably. So spent like, that was like the game for me growing up, was just Super Mario World, because like, what else would you need? Super Mario Kart. That's another great game. It was like that. Why? I don't know why I never.
Final Fantasy 2 and 3, which are 4 and 6.
Yeah.
Mystic Quest.
I never played any JRPGs growing up.
I know. I'm just saying. You said what else you need, and I'm.
I know. I'm being an asshole. But yeah, for me, like growing up, it was a lot of just like platformers. So it was like Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3, and I think that was pretty much like the majority of like the playtime I had, was like a lot of those first party Nintendo platformers. And like for some reason, like Link to the Past never came up on my radar growing up. I don't know why, but it never did. And like same as like any of the JRPGs or anything. Maybe it's just like I looked at those and I was like, I don't know, too hard or something, or I just was never exposed to those for some reason.
All right. Well, I wanna put it in reverse a little bit here for a second.
Beep beep.
Did you?
Beep beep.
Did you have an NES growing up?
No, like I was too young for that. The first system I had was a Super Nintendo.
So that explains why you never played Zelda 1 and 2.
Though, do you know the first Zelda game I played? If you could take a
Twilight
guess.
Princess?
No. Link's Awakening.
Nice. That's a good one to start with.
So like a lot of my nostalgia for Zelda games is the Game Boy games.
Did you beat it?
No, because I got stuck and I was like, So like I played Link's Awakening. I own both Oracle games on physical GBC carts.
Nice.
And then the first like console Zelda game I got was Twilight Princess.
Okay, so I wasn't off gear thinking that Twilight Princess was in there somewhere because I remember you mentioning to me Twilight Princess.
Yeah, that was the first Zelda game I beat because it was the only
That's
game I
why.
had for my Wii. So I was like, I gotta beat this, obviously.
And it's great. I mean, people tear Twilight Princess a new one, but it was such a good game.
Slow start though.
Not as slow as Skyward Sword.
I mean, I've never played that game, so I wouldn't know. But I know. You were like the one person who is like who will defend Skyward Sword to the grave. But I'm just saying.
Skyward Sword.
I'm not disparaging it anyway. I just haven't played it. As with a lot of other games, obviously.
Right. You also need to play Majora's Mask.
I have Majora's Mask. I've played it.
You need to beat it.
That's true.
I'm sure people argue that you need to play Ocarina.
I've played Ocarina.
Did you beat it?
No.
I'd argue that Majora is more important than Ocarina, but people will argue against me. Come at me, bro.
Majora is just so weird.
Majora's
Which
beautiful.
I think that's actually a positive to it, especially just because of how strange the development cycle for that game is as well. Like, it's basically an expansion pack for Ocarina.
It is, but it plays a lot more of like an RPG style. I mean, like not play in terms of like gameplay because you're still Link with a sword and all that, but in terms of like the figuring out who needs what done and all that, it feels way more RPG than like the standard adventure stories. It's also super dark.
Yeah, and just like, you know, like all the time mechanics and everything, which clearly doesn't make sense at first. It's like, oh, well, like I've at the end of the time limit, I'm screwed. But it's like, oh, we just got to go back and keep doing this over and over again. It's why that there's a game coming out I think later this year for PC. It's called I think Elsinore. Yeah, it's called Elsinore. It's basically it's a game that has Majora's Mask like time travel mechanics in it, but it takes place inside Hamlet.
Oh, you showed me that.
Yeah, and you play as what's her name?
I don't think
Ophelia.
Hamlet.
You play as sorry, shut up. You play as Ophelia, and basically you have to like prevent all of like the bad that happens in Hamlet from happening. And I think that sounds fascinating, but it's like also it's a game that, you know, has like roots in Majora's Mask and like all those other games that probably have like, you know, time mechanics and all that sort of stuff in it. But yeah, Majora's Mask seems just weird. I guess that's the main point I want to say. It's definitely a game.
What you should get from this is that my goal is to make you play all the Zelda games except for the CDI.
But what if we played the CDI ones? No, I'm just kidding.
But
those games are very bad.
Play the CDI ones.
I do own Majora's Mask. It's on my 3DS. I got
add it to your list.
A quarter to maybe halfway through that game, but then I just like fell off it. There's something about those N64 3D Zelda games that like I don't know. I'm not to say they're bad, but I don't know, like going back and playing them just feels not the best.
Did you play Wind Waker?
Yeah, I've beat Wind Waker.
Good.
I'm glad I get a round of applause for that. But
seriously, Wind Waker is one of the best.
Yeah, legitimately, like I will completely agree with you on that. And I don't know, maybe playing that game on 3DS is not necessarily the best.
Majora's Mask is best on 3DS in my opinion.
I mean, like with all the stuff they redid for that game, yeah. But I don't know, like just for me just playing that game on 3DS isn't. I don't know. It's just something about those N64 Zelda games are just weird to me. But that's just me. I'm a weirdo, so.
I mean, you did just spend like 10 minutes looking up Soulja Boy stuff, so.
I did.
I think that is an accurate statement. So I guess we should do what we actually came here to do and talk about these Zelda games that you played.
I mean, we've just spent 10 minutes talking about other Zelda games that I've kind of played, so.
Or have not touched.
Or have not touched. Like you were
Skyward Sword. You
were telling me before we went on air, you're like, you need to play Minish Cap. Do it.
You do. Minish Cap's so good. Okay, so I know I keep saying like this Zelda game is great. This Zelda game is great. There's not. Okay, that's a lie. I was gonna say there's not a bad Zelda game.
I was about to ask, like, what's the bad Zelda games besides the CDI ones?
CDI.
Besides the CDI ones.
I mean, I don't really care for Phantom Hourglass. I like Spirit Tracks, okay, but it's not way up there.
Which seems like a real bummer that you wouldn't like Phantom Hourglass because like it's kind of like a sequel to Wind Waker, isn't it?
It is a direct sequel.
Which that seems like such a bummer that like that game isn't as good. Because like
Yep.
Wind Waker's awesome. Like, and the idea of like having another sequel to that game, it seems awesome. And then it's like, well, and then you're like, oh, that game's not great. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, I didn't really like it. Like I said, I like Spirit Tracks, and that one is also technically a sequel, but it's set several years later after
Right.
Wind Waker, whereas Phantom Hourglass is directly after. But those are the only ones I could be like, I didn't really like them. But man, Minish Cap, you need to play that one too because it's wonderful. It's made by Capcom actually.
Which the Oracle games were too.
Yep.
Those are we'll get to those later on.
Yeah. But they did better with Minish Cap than they did the Oracle series.
That's a good thing to hear.
Was Awakening Capcom as well, or was that Nintendo directly?
Link's Awakening? Link's I feel like that was Nintendo because there's all that like weird Mario stuff in it.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
it's Nintendo.
Okay, just checking.
What about Four Swords? Like those weird multiplayer games.
Okay, so Four Swords, I didn't have friends.
Problem
Like,
number one.
Think I'm joking? I'm not.
No,
No, I really couldn't play it. I have yet to actually play Four Swords.
So I guess that would be the same problem like with Triforce Heroes, which I guess that game does have online, but
It has online, but also it has a single player mode.
Right.
Which I played through single player mode, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Four Swords always just seemed like a weird thing in and of itself, just because like it's like it's multiplayer Zelda, which I don't know if necessarily these games need.
No.
So.
You know what else you need to play?
What's that?
Link's crossbow training.
That's very true. The greatest Legend of Zelda game, Link's crossbow training, which you can emulate in Dolphin, by the way.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But I mean, who would want to do that when you wouldn't be able to have the Wii Zapper?
I mean, really.
Really?
Really. It's the ideal way to play Link's crossbow training.
The greatest game ever made. IGN gave it a 100 out of 10, stating that while the game was enjoyable, it was also too short.
Oh my god. Wow. So yeah. I love Zelda games. A lot.
In case you have not paid attention to any of our past 21 episodes before this and have not gleaned that fact, welcome to the podcast where old Al over here like loves the Zelda games.
Did you beat A Link Between Worlds?
No, I didn't. I have that game as well, but
you got stuck in the fire.
I got stuck on that fire boss and I just kind of lost track and it fell by the wayside. But I thought that game was real good.
It's
like all
really,
the
really
stuff I
good.
played of it.
Really good.
That's something I should probably go back and play, I know.
Especially now that you played Link to the Past.
True, yeah. Exactly. Which it's still kind of a bummer they didn't name that game Link to the Past 2 over here, because I think they did in Japan. Or basically, like, said... they make more mention that it's a sequel to Link to the Past than they do in the US name. But still, that game's cool.
Yeah, it's great. I really, really like it. My mom actually got me figurines from that for Christmas.
Hashtag nice.
Nice.
But we should talk about the Zelda games I've played.
Yeah, let's do it.
And so I was about to say, instead of the ones I haven't played, there is one that I want to play, but the way you set it up for emulation and everything is kind of a hassle in and of itself that is way too kind of complicated for me, I think. But the Satellaview Zelda games.
Yeah.
So they recently just like made those to where like they got the translation down and then dubbed all of like the voiceover stuff that would come through the Satellaview internet doohickey that you could plug into your Super Famicom. So like all of that stuff's in there as well now. But the way to like set it up, it seems like real complicated. I just couldn't really figure it out. But That seems like a real cool thing. And I'm
I
glad
would
that
love to try it.
yeah, I'm glad that they've at least kind of like found a way to preserve that, because a lot of those early online games, like with Satellaview, the Sega Channel stuff, like a lot of that stuff it could easily be lost to time just because like we wouldn't have found or had good ways to preserve those games back in the 90s when those were coming out.
I mean, I I have lots of thoughts on video game preservation because it's
I
a
yeah,
huge issue.
I bet.
But a lot of those early internet experiments with consoles are very, very hard to preserve, and so it's kind of like teetering on teetering on dangerous because if we lose them, they're gone, and I mean, there's nothing that can be done. So, like you said, I'm really glad that that one's being preserved. I wish there was an easier way to access it.
Yeah, like
Um,
maybe like Nintendo could put out like a version of it for like virtual console or something, but I don't know. They may not even have like the stuff for it anymore. Like, and a lot of
no,
like and a lot of like that, like the archival of like stuff like that, it becomes through emulation and piracy, really. Which I
it
know, like,
does.
which piracy obviously it's that's a very gray area, and especially in terms of video games. But like, if we don't have piracy of those types of games, like those are never going to be preserved.
I'm trying to remember which game it was that I was reading about that like the parent company lost the entirety of the original code.
Oh, I feel like I read something about that recently too. But I mean,
And
that's a lot of things. Like it's a
right,
common story.
but I'm saying like that was really, really common because it was of the sense of like, well, it's out there and it's done. Like, who cares now? Like, preservation is a tricky area because people like in the moment don't think of it as something like, oh, we need to keep this, we need to think of a way to preserve this for future generations. And as a historian, that makes me cringe. Like, I have stacks of magazines that I keep because somebody who's doing their dissertation in 100 years may want to look at my magazines and see what's going on. Save your
Right.
magazines, guys, because I go through them all the time. Also, I'll buy them. If you have old game magazines, I'll totally buy them.
Which is why like stuff like archive.org is like how like they have like their kind of database for like video game magazines and all that stuff up there.
Yep.
That's fantastic. It's still a real shame that Nintendo DMCA'd them for like their Nintendo
Yeah,
Power Collection. That's
that
real
upsets me.
lame. But like even like in terms of preserving like cartridge based games, like
Mm.
those have a limited time span because like cartridge rot and all that sort of stuff is going to happen eventually, and
Yeah, I
like
mean, it
battery
happens.
backups and all that stuff, it's all going away. So like having to dump all that stuff is the only way we can really preserve them in anything.
Well, and it's the same kind of situation with like the systems themselves. Like, if you
True.
have the game, like that's fine. But like, what if the systems don't work and we have no way of actually playing them? Actually, one of the weirdest things that I've run into, this may not sound weird to somebody else, but when I was going through the Atari archives, there were a few games that just had the code printed. Like, it's literally just like dot matrix printed the code for the game.
That's what they would usually do like in like old PC magazines too, is like they would print out like the code for like games, and it'd be like, okay, we're not going to give you like a disc or anything for it, but if you type all this stuff in, you can have the game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how the like Space War and everything was done, was just people transferring code.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know, it's mind blowing to me, like the idea that some of these things could be potentially lost, which is one reason I guess why I really like the whole idea of virtual console, is because it is like letting people access it and it is having the code somewhere. But at the same time, it's not like a freely accessible thing because they know that they can still make money off of it.
Or like I think like the Wii Virtual Console version of Super Mario Brothers was just a literal ROM they downloaded,
Yeah.
which is super messed up in and of its own self.
And it's a mess, but it would be really cool to see if there's any kind of release someday of that. But as of right now, bummer.
At least it's out there if you want to play it and try and figure it out. You can.
You can. It's just
It's
not
complicated. It's not like just plug it into an emulator and go. It's not that easy.
right. And that's what sucks about it, is that it does take a little bit of know-how to do it, and not everybody can do that.
Anyways,
that's a
That was
rant about video game history
that
and
was our 20-minute
preservation.
tangent.
Whoops, my B.
Let's talk about Zelda games I've played.
All right, let's do it. You started with Zelda 1. No, you didn't, but still, we're going to start with Zelda 1.
Well, yeah, I guess technically I didn't, but still.
The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. So we kind of touched base on this in the NES Classic episode, where we kind of talked about my experiences with Zelda and Zelda 2, and basically that little system, regardless of your hot takes about them pulling it off the market and all that stuff because you have bad misinformation, don't understand what production costs and all that stuff means and all that sort of stuff. But that thing was a good way to play those first 2 games for me personally, instead of having to get an emulator and all that sort of stuff. It was just a very easy way for me to play those games. And
I felt like you got some of the experience by having the controller there, and you got to see kind of how it was. Obviously it was a bit prettier, but
I have save states. That's a little bit different too.
Save states are great. But I felt like it was a little bit more of a visceral, real experience instead of just playing it as a ROM.
Yeah. And we did talk about this in the episode, the NES Classic episode. If you want to go back and listen to that, you can. A lot of the charm of the first Legend of Zelda game was the idea that you could go explore pretty much everywhere and kind of do whatever you want while still having this clear-cut goal of what you need to do to get to the end of the game. And I didn't play it like that, obviously. I looked up, okay, what do I need to do to get this, to get this, to get this, to go to this dungeon, get this item, yada, 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 yada. And that's how I played it. And I know some people would probably look at that and be like, oh, you didn't get the purest experience with this game. You didn't get, the way it's supposed to be played. And it's well, A, f*** you, B, I'm going to play this game however the hell I want, and I still got a fantastic experience with it. I can understand, why that game is so influential to this day still. Why, it's very similar to how Breath of the Wild became its thing.
That's what I was going to say, is that it's really interesting that you played this and then played Breath of the Wild, because they're really, really connected in the sense of how they were thinking of Zelda games. So also episode 13 was the NES Classic episode, if you want to go back to it.
Lucky number 13.
Oops.
I do think it would have been real cool though, because there is cool stuff with this game, especially because it was originally a Famicom Disk System game, which I'm a huge proponent for Famicom Disk System games. I think that thing is so cool as just a peripheral, and how Nintendo was making floppy disk games for their cartridge-based system. And the ways that it enhanced those games, I think we talked about this in the NES Classic episode, or at least somewhere I've talked about this before, just all the crazy with the Famicom Disk System. But just the ways that game was, and then they ported it over to the NES and had to change it to a cartridge itself, and had to eliminate specific parts of that game that were proponent in the Japanese version specifically, because the Famicom had the second controller, which had a microphone, which you could use as an attack in certain dungeons against certain enemies. And obviously you couldn't do that in the American version because we didn't have a controller that had a microphone in it. So that's gone. And that kind of loses some of that experience, which I think in the manual, it does mention scream to get rid of this enemy. And it's well, I can't.
I'm just imagining a child just ah at the screen.
But yeah, there's just so much random stuff with that, transferring it from floppy disk to cartridge, how you lose some the audio quality and all that sort of stuff. But as for the game itself, it still holds up. I think there's parts of it that are kind of probably a little bit more difficult than you would imagine, considering it's a game from the mid 80s, obviously. But I don't think it's necessarily aged poorly or anything. It may, depending on how you think of games currently compared to games from 30 years ago, especially with how much information they're going to tell you up front about where to go, what to do, all that sort of stuff. Obviously it's going to be a little bit different in that circumstance, but I mean, playing it with a guide and everything, I still got the good experience that I wanted out of that game.
It's a really fun game. It's it's not one that I like regularly go back to, but it's one that I really recognize as revolutionizing the video game industry. Recognize that it revolutionized, like it made this huge series. Um, it's really really great, and you know there are weird details about it, like the like main Zelda theme was composed in like a single day.
Really?
Yeah. So I forgot what interview it was in, but they were interviewing like the main people who were involved with The Legend of Zelda last year because it was the 30th.
Right.
And he was saying that like he had a composition that he thought was going to work, and then like they realized that it just wasn't good, it wasn't going to do it, and literally like overnight came up with the Legend of Zelda theme, and I'm like, what the heck. Oh man. Also, because I'm on the topic of music, and of course I got to talk about it. Did you know that there's actually really large internet discussions about the difference in music between the US version and the Famicom version?
I mean, I'm not surprised considering, like, obviously the disc system version would have the better music,
Yeah,
like
there
better
are like
sound quality, especially.
real arguments about it, especially Zelda 2 soundtrack. Like you can go on YouTube and just see arguments. It's wonderful. Don't actually go on YouTube comments. It's the worst thing you'll ever do in your life.
Well, why would there be arguments? It's cut and dry that the disc system version is going to have better sound quality, the better soundtrack compared to the cartridge version.
I think probably the reason is because a lot of people hear the US version first.
Right? Yeah, it's just that
And so
nostalgia.
there's the nostalgia element to it. People are like, "Oh, that's the version I recognize. It's the version I know." But anyway, just thought I'd mention.
People are weird on the internet. In case you have not been aware.
Oh my God. Although I think you agree with me on this, and correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
I like rude. I like Zelda 2 better than I like the original Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. Zelda 2 is the better game.
Yeah. It's not like top down, so people didn't like that, and it introduced new elements like magic and things.
Zelda 2 is crazy.
Zelda 2 is also really hard.
Yeah, it's also that. It's like we did talk about this in the NES Classic episode. It's like, obviously there was no like design of like what the next Zelda game sequel should be, like what it's supposed to be. It's like obviously nowadays we would think of like it's either going to be like a big open 3D world, kind of like Ocarina, basically set the prototype for that. Yeah. And some of the 2D stuff is basically going to be this top-down overview stuff. Zelda 2 was like obviously no one knew like what
it's going to be a franchise.
Yeah, so it's just like, well, it. Let's just make something completely different. Why not? We have the opportunity to do so. Let's do it. And obviously being a direct sequel to Legend of Zelda, like, it. Make something cool and different. Why not? It's what this series needs to do more of, really. Just make like crazy ass. I mean, obviously you'll get Zelda hyper fans get real pissed off anytime you like try and touch and do anything different to the franchise or anything like that, but like, dude, do some like weird with this game, with this series. Like that's when like the games that do that formula where they change it, do just like wacky with it, are like the coolest games in the series.
Zelda 2, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker.
You could argue Breath of the Wild.
Well, I would argue Breath of the Wild. But I'm just saying, like, precedent exists at this point now that, like, when you do weird things, usually fans get really grumpy. Like, I remember when Wind Waker came out and people were so mad because it wasn't realistic and dark and gritty. And I'm like, for one, it is dark and gritty. You're just not looking close enough because that story is really bad, like, in terms of how terrible things are.
And then people cried at the Twilight Princess reveal because it was adult Link. And it's like,
right. It's just, I don't know. Zelda fans can be a pain in the butt to deal with. I'll admit that as a Zelda fan, but as not maybe not that kind of Zelda fan.
Right.
Um, because again, there's very few Zelda games that I actually just like don't love. And I appreciate it when they do the same thing, and I appreciate when they do different things. But Zelda 2 was definitely a strikeout in terms of like what fans I guess wanted, which we talked about this on the NES episode. I wonder if that's nostalgia and like people saying now that they didn't like it, because I feel like it probably didn't have that kind of reaction back then, but I don't know because I was young
Right. I mean,
and the internet wasn't really around.
I would say it kind of has to be like that nostalgia thing. Like I would say like probably the turn on that game probably happened like the mid to late 90s.
I would say post Link to the Past.
Yeah, because like obviously Link to the Past hasn't come out yet. Legend of Zelda hasn't had that precedent of, you know, oh, we're going to make all these games a top down from now on, and kind of not really talk about Zelda 2 that much. And so you get Link to the Past, you get Link's Awakening, which also kind of follows into that same mold that the first game did. And then Ocarina and Majora go into a completely different realm. You have the Oracle games, which follow the 2D precedent that has kind of been set by the first game as well. And then Zelda 2 just kind of becomes this outlier, excuse me. And
it could be an outlier.
Sure. And just like no one really kind of talks about it, and then like just like the skew of that game gets turned, and it just becomes like all this negative comments about it, like, oh, this game's bad because it's 2D and everything. And it's like, well, what?
Yeah, I know a lot of people on the internet complain about the fact that it was a side scroller, and but it still had like a top down overworld. It was just like the actual levels were side scrolling. So, but it did a lot of things that were really interesting and fun. And the combat was a lot of fun in that one.
Yeah, like they do a lot of like weird stuff with the combat as well, because like obviously you have like your poke attack, your down poke attack, and then you can jump on people and poke them. You can jump in the air and poke them.
Do you think that was because of the pogo in DuckTales? Do you think that was inspired at all?
Are you saying? Wait, hang on. Rephrase that. Sorry.
Do you think Link's down poke was inspired by the pogo from DuckTales?
No, because DuckTales came out after Zelda 2.
Did it?
Yeah, DuckTales was 89, I think.
Ah, okay, never mind.
Zelda 2 was 87. Maybe it's the other way around.
Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe DuckTales got the idea.
Maybe. But who knows? That's let's call up Capcom and ask them. Did you guys get the idea for the pogo? But yeah, like Zelda 2 is just like it's way more RPG like. Like I wonder as well. We may have mentioned this before though. Like the rap that Simon's Quest gets. And it gets a bad rap because like there's some bad parts to that game, which is how insane it gets. I wonder if like, because those two games are kind of similar in very specific ways, and I wonder if people associate the badness with Simon's Quest and then it kind of just bleeds over into Zelda 2.
That's a good point.
Because they both have like, you go into cities, you talk to people, there's some weird things that people will tell you that may not seem all that critical at this point. I mean, obviously in Simon's Quest, it's way more obtuse and like ridiculous because like people will just straight out lie to you in that game. Yeah. And Zelda 2 is more just like, it's more cryptic and hidden and things of that nature. Like obviously I'm Error, but it's like that's the person you need to go meet at one point in the game. So it's like obviously he's going to introduce himself to you. But I just wonder if like, because like those things have like the similar systems in that respect. If like there's just a bleed over from that game into Zelda 2, and that's kind of like why it's got such a negative rap over the years, or is it Zelda fans just being Zelda fans?
It really honestly could go either way.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really good question. Huh. I don't know how to answer that.
I'm here to bring the hard-hitting questions.
It did do both these games obviously established a series, and so they're really significant even if you dislike them, which you don't obviously, but people listening might. Also, Zelda 2 has one of the best songs of the entire series in it.
That soundtrack is very good.
It's super solid. But that temple theme is just baller. Like so baller that they're like, you know what? We're
Let's
gonna
just use it the entire time.
we're gonna completely ignore the fact that Zelda 2 exists for the most part, except for we're gonna put that song in Smash Brothers because yes.
As you should.
Right. It's such a good song.
I mean, I would say like it probably like the difficulty is very tough.
It's steep. It's a really hard game.
Like especially compared to that
full
the
stop.
first game, it's just like it just ramps up the difficulty like to 11 essentially. And there are parts of that game that just seem kind of ridiculous in terms of 80s video game difficulty. Like
Yeah.
Death Mountain is not a cakewalk. It's more like a train wreck.
Where everything is literally on fire.
Yeah.
It is a train wreck with fire, and maybe there are some nails being thrown at you. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
That lead up to the final dungeon is super tough.
Yeah, I remember you were about to give up,
Yep. It's true.
and I talked you through it.
You did, and I got through that game.
Yeah, and you got lovin's from the Zelda.
I did. From other Zelda.
Right, Sleeping Zelda, not Zelda from Game 1, because this is the same Link as the first Link.
It's very weird. Two different
Actually-
Zeldas, because why not?
I should mention that if people are like really, really interested in Zelda games and they haven't picked up Arts and Artifacts, they totally should because it's got great artwork for these games in there. Just saying.
Just don't pick up like the timeline stuff, because then you'll just break your mind over trying to figure out what the timeline of all the Zelda games are, and you just don't want to do that. Don't do that.
I mean, luckily, Arts and Artifacts doesn't have any of that in there. It's literally just art.
Thankfully.
But yeah, the timeline is, I'll say it's bullshit. It's them trying to like plug things in where they don't even need to be plugged in. Like the timeline doesn't matter. It has never mattered. It won't matter. Stop bugging Nintendo about the timeline.
Okay, let me ask you this before we move on.
Is it about the timeline?
No.
Okay, because I will fight you.
Do you ever think, or do you think Nintendo would be ballsy to do this and make a Zelda 3?
Oh, no. I don't think they'll ever make, because they know the
But what if they did?
What if they did? Right. But I think they know enough of like what people currently think of Zelda 2 that they wouldn't risk it.
Okay, but imagine this. You get this young upstart team at Nintendo that works with like all the Zelda team and all that stuff.
That's how you got Breath of the Wild.
Okay, but
Okay, but
they come up with a concept for Zelda 3, but it's an entirely new style for the Legend of Zelda. Like it's not a 2D overhead. It's not a 2D side scroller. It's not a 3D open world game. It's something completely different, and that's how they make Zelda 3. Like each iteration of Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2 to Zelda 3 is a completely different game style.
I mean, what would you do? Hyrule Warriors?
Character action game.
Ah.
Co-developed by Platinum. Zelda 3.
You could do like an actual legitimate RPG of Zelda at one
Yeah, you
point.
could do that.
Have Zelda in your party. That'd be rad.
Oh man, I want them to make a Zelda 3 just because it would so many people off and I would laugh so hard. And B, just because that would be awesome. Like I want like old haggard 30s to 40s Link, and he has to go out on another adventure, and he's like all haggard and shit, and he's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Oh my god.
I mean, obviously that would have worked better like in the late 2000s when every game
Everything
had
was fucking gritty.
yeah gritty brown haired facial hair dad protagonist.
I mean, it would be really, really funny if you have that same Link who just pops up and he's like, I have to do this again? I got my dang kiss. Can I just move on with my life now?
I mean, he's pretty dang salty in Zelda 2 to begin with.
He is. The art shows that. He is super salty. He's like 16, so like everybody was salty at 16. And we weren't tasked with saving the world / the princess.
True.
And also he'd already been through it when he was like 12. So the boy needs a rest.
So you get
And
old
he
haggard
also
Zelda.
has
You get
he
old haggard
has
Link in there.
no pants.
He doesn't have any pants either. He's like, that's what he has to wear too in Zelda 3. He's like, ugh, someone make me some pants.
They mentioned that they were gonna do like an older gritty Link in one of them, and I can't remember. It was one of the recent ones. I can't remember if it was Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess, but it was supposed to be like a gritty older Link, and they didn't do it. He was like lumberjack style.
I don't think it would work
No, I wouldn't.
unless it was Zelda 3, because then you'd have like the canonical timeline going there.
It has to be, if you're gonna do it, it has to be that Link,
Yeah.
because that's how it's gonna. I know that people have been like calling for Ocarina Link as an adult to have a story, because we know for a fact that the Twilight Princess Spectre guy who teaches Link like his sword moves. Do you remember him?
Not really.
He's
It's been
like
like
a
10 years since I played that game.
Yeah, he's a skeleton. He's got one glowing red eye, and he teaches you all the special moves. He's the golden wolf that you meet. Anyway, that's Ocarina Link. So we know that he died. We know that he feels regret. We know that he lost an eye. So I know people have been like calling to find out what happened to him. But we already know that he went through like Majora's Mask and all that. So I don't know that we really need. But I think that's probably the closest to an adult Link we'll ever get, is if they decided to like go back to Ocarina Link and give his story. But I don't really care. I mean, I know it sounds terrible.
Right. You don't need that like that in between Ocarina and Majora up to Twilight Princess. You don't need that filled in.
Well, it would even past Majora.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like from Majora up to Twilight Princess, essentially.
Right. I don't need that. Like if somebody were to do that, it would work in like a manga.
Yeah.
I don't want to play this game.
Right.
It just, because we know he's gonna fail. We know he's gonna lose. Because he's dead and he lost an eye and he feels regret. So we know how this story ends.
But what if he became a pirate?
There are pirates and oracles.
There is. Skeleton pirates, to be exact.
Well, he's a skeleton and you're saying he's a pirate. So.
I'm just saying I'm writing a new timeline.
Oh.
Zelda 3 coming soon.
All right.
That's what they're going to announce at E3 this year, Zelda 3. I'm predicting it right now. So everyone can call me an oracle when they come out and like, hey, we're going to make Zelda 3 because why not?
Oh my god, that is coming up soon.
My body is Reggie for Zelda 3.
My body is Reggie for Nintendo.
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past, one of the best ones. I was gonna say the best, but fight me.
It's pretty alright, I guess.
Fight me.
Yeah, it's very good. Link. You get pink-haired Link.
But he's not really pink-haired, guys. I get really mad when I see fan art and he's got pink hair. He's not actually pink-haired. Like, look at the dang book. They show you he's blonde. They just couldn't do the blonde because of the color schemes.
Good old Super Nintendo's color schemes.
So I feel like Link to the Past actually built up a lot of the tropes of the later Legend of Zelda games way more than the first two did.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Because you have like the Link has to go get 3 of an item and then he can pull the Master Sword and then he has to go do all these other stuff so that he can save the princess.
There's a light dark world. Right.
Like there's a split world and all that. Like that, those tropes are common in pretty much every Zelda game after that. Every main line except for like Majora.
I mean, if you're going to rip off one of the games, why not rip off like one of the best ones?
Right. I mean, that's pretty much how I feel about it, is that like Link to the Past is one of the best games I've ever played. So like if you're going to keep pulling tropes from it, pull from that one. Which I know people said that it was tired before Breath of the Wild, and I really like Breath of the Wild, but I also still really like these old style games too.
Yeah.
Man, though, Link to the Past, so good. I remember, I'm actually surprised that somehow it was preserved for you. Um, you were texting me about the dungeon with Blind the bandit. And like, I have this girl, and what do I do with her? She won't go out the front door with
Oh
me.
right, yeah. Because
And
I was like, I should just leave with her, right? Like, why isn't she leaving with me? This is real dumb.
I was so surprised that that twist got saved for you after so long. I was really excited about that. But like all the design of that game is just so good. Like the character designs are great, the enemy designs are great. The puzzles are wonderful. It's such a good game. Oh my god, I love it. I
It is
love it.
it
I love it.
it
I love
takes
it.
everything from like the first game and just like reiterates it so well, like just amps it up and makes it even like a better playing game than that first one is.
Oh yeah,
Which
definitely.
I guess I mean it's not technically that hard to do, but like it just makes everything flow so much better.
Well, and we talked about this when we were playing. It aged really
Yeah.
well. Like really well. The other two aged well, but like Link to the Past really aged well. It's like a wine.
Yeah, there's something about like those super like those big Super Nintendo games. Like you think of Super Mario World, you think of Link to the Past, and like they have aged so well over the years, especially compared to like their NES counterparts. I would say.
Right. I definitely agree with you. Actually, the same could be said for Final Fantasy as well.
True. Yeah.
Like the NES Final Fantasies have not aged that well, but like Final Fantasy
That first
Final
one.
Fantasy 4 and 6, 2 and 3 if you're going by the American standards.
Yeah. Yeah.
They aged phenomenally well.
Four is very good. I,
You
s-
go-
I still haven't gone through 6 yet. I've played like the very beginning of it, so I can't really say that. Chrono Trigger as well. That game's aged very well as well. As well.
Yes.
As well.
As well. Chrono Trigger, yes, 100%, 100%.
Just like man, I don't know like if it's just like the system and everything that everyone like had kind of like had enough time developing on the NES and finally was like getting into their groove when the Super Nintendo came around. But like there's so many games for that system and like obviously just around that time period as well of games that have aged so well
Right.
compared to like any other era because like obviously there's NES stuff that has aged well. But probably not to the same extent that the Super Nintendo is. The PlayStation and like the N64, Dreamcast, Saturn era, like all that stuff is very weird because like obviously we're advancing graphics technology and all that sort of stuff. But then once you get into like the PS2 era and all that stuff, that's when you get to see games kind of start aging well again, but in a different sense because like, you know, controller layouts and like the way games controlled was a little clunky still.
Yeah.
But like just like that early 90s era of games, like so many of them have just aged so well that like I wonder like what the exactly is the reason for that is. If it was just like we've been making games for so long that we kind of know what we're doing, we know how to make games good compared to like other like but previously and then obviously later on when things changed dramatically. But yeah.
I wonder if it's just something to the extent of like the NES came out and they learned how to deal with it, and then like the Super Nintendo was kind of like the perfection of it, and then everything changed with like trying to go 3D and everything, so they kind of had to relearn
Right.
the process. I'm wondering if that's something to do with it, but Super Nintendo is like one of the best systems, some of the best games of all time. Like it phenomenal system.
I mean, you can expand that off to like there's Genesis games that are very good, like Neo Geo games around that time were some very very good stuff coming out in that era as well. It's just like that early to mid '90s era of video games is just
Good.
something.
I am very thankful that that's the era that like I grew up with.
Yeah,
I mean, like I had an NES and I played a lot of it, but like the Super Nintendo was really like my generation. That and I know we'll argue about 64, but you know, it was really when I was getting into games a lot when the Super Nintendo was out. So I'm very thankful that I lived through it and saw it happen because it's good good.
yeah, exactly. Like I don't think that's like nostalgia or like looking through it through rose glasses or anything like that for us. I think it's just like, hey, this was very good.
Yeah.
Like I don't think like someone who's like 10 years younger than us is going to be like, "Oh man, all those PS2 games, they were fantastic. They aged so well." Like that's not necessarily true, but like some of your favorite games may be on that, but I don't know.
Right, but even like if you compare, say, the Donkey Kong games on the Super Nintendo, like say Donkey Kong 64, I would definitely argue that the Donkey Kong Country games aged way better.
Yeah, and even then I would say like they might not have aged the best. Like I think those games are kind of clunky nowadays.
Right, they haven't aged as well as like Link to the Past or
But
Chrono
like yeah,
Trigger,
you're I think you're
but
right. Like they probably did age better than like Donkey Kong 64 for example cuz that game's just something else in its own right. Like a lot of those collectathon platformers, 3D ones specifically that Rare is putting out on the 64, they've aged obviously. Like I think they're still good games, but like they just haven't like necessarily aged as well as some other games of like that same time period.
I'm sorry, I just got clawed in the butt and it kind of distracted me.
That can be very distracting.
It is because when you're sitting and talking about how great games are, and then you feel like a spike poke you in your left butt cheek, you're like, "Wait a minute, what just happened?" And then you look back and there's a cat eating. You're like, "Oh, that's what happened." Okay, I was listening to you.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
just things happened.
I guess as well. Like we could jump off that as well. Like especially those N64 platformers,
Getting
like
poked in the butt.
getting poked in the butt, and then obviously you put out your ukulele thing where it's like
Right.
maybe those games aren't necessarily what we need in 2017 because like they haven't aged well enough, or we can't necessarily iterate on
Reproduce.
them. Yeah, reproduce them as well. I mean that may just be a variety of other things. Like there could be someone else out there right now working on a spiritual successor to those N64 collectathon platformers and make it like fantastic for modern day.
I
But
hope that they are. I
yeah,
look forward to seeing them.
but
But
obviously that's
as
not happening
yeah,
right now.
no, no. Um, Speaking of games that have not aged well, do you want to talk about Oracle?
Yeah, which I did not know that those games came out after Ocarina and
They,
Majora.
they did. They did.
They did. For 2001, Game Boy Color, the Zelda introduction to the Game Boy Color was not a great one. But obviously, we talked about this a little bit earlier. These games were made by Capcom,
Mm. Capcom.
which obviously not the people who are making the Legend of Zelda games prior to this.
Right. Like I said, Minish Cap is great, but going back and playing Oracle, like I remember these games being really good, and
Yeah,
then
same.
going back and playing them, I was like, they're okay, but they're not great. Actually, I know that we're talking about mentioning this in an episode later, but I've been reading through the Legend of Zelda manga lately.
Yes, you have.
And the one for Oracle of Ages and Seasons is actually a million times better than the games ever could hope to be.
I mean, I'm not necessarily, I guess, surprised by that.
So I can recommend that, and I will talk about them later at a later date in length. But um, I don't know. I feel bad that like I made you play these because, like I said, they're not bad, but they're not great.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. There's something about them that just like it felt a lot. They were very padded out
Hmm.
and didn't necessarily need to be, especially because like if you want to get the full experience, you got to play through both of them,
Correct.
and that's a lot of gameplay because like
It's
they're both full games in and of their own right. So and then you're going to be kind of dealing with all. I mean, they tweak things in both games because obviously Oracle Seasons deals with seasons, Oracle of Ages deals with time travel, but you're basically playing just like a very lengthy Zelda game, and
yeah.
it didn't need to be that lengthy. Or I would say probably it didn't need to be split between two games.
I can agree with that. I feel like if they put them together and not had as many dungeons, it would have worked a lot better. It kind of ran into the same issue that I had with the most recent Fire Emblem
Right.
Fates with Birthright, Conquest, and I forget the third one. But by the time I got to the third one, I'm like, okay, I'm done playing the same thing over and over and over. Like
Mm.
I kind of got that same sense here. Like it needed to be probably the length of one of these games, but the two of them together.
Given the time period, I wonder if the reason they split these games up is because they saw the popularity of Pokemon and how those games have been split up and thought, hey, maybe we can cash in on this and sell two different games, but have them both be technically one when you buy both of them.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Because obviously they're also branded as a red and blue game.
Correct. I really would not doubt that was influence. And I mean, the code system was a thing.
I think that's kind of neat that you can transfer stuff from between game to game, and it does it in a way that makes sense. Obviously, the passwords are very intricate and all that sort of stuff. So,
yeah,
it's
it's cool because it transfers small things. Like if you talk to the family that's raising their kid in the village, like whatever choices you made with that kid and whatever you named him, everything transfers over, and then you get to see him grow up to an adult in whatever career he chooses.
Yeah.
So that's a minor thing, but it's really cool to see. So it's a neat concept.
I think it's a lot of ambition with these two games that they don't necessarily land or stick the mark on, but they could have been cooler, but they didn't really do it.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think for the experience for these games, it's better just read the book, even though it's not canon technically. Which is disappointing because actually the canon story is way more boring than what they came up with in the manga. Like it works much better in the book. And that's not a thing that you want.
Right.
You don't want it to be like a book that came out years later that's like, oh hey, we can make your story better than what you did it.
Whoops.
Whoops. But it would have been a really neat concept if they had done what they did. But I don't know, it just felt I was tired by the end of us playing them.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I think though as well though that the gameplay was pretty good, especially for those Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. Like it definitely was an improvement on Link's Awakening and everything like that. It's a real bummer that is the only other place that you find 2D side scrolling in the Zelda franchise.
Yeah. That was an interesting thing because you had just recently got off of playing Zelda II.
Correct.
When we started playing this, and you're like, oh hey, there it is, and I was like, yeah, welcome to the closest you're ever gonna get to another Zelda 2.
That's a real bummer.
Like, oh, I felt bad because it's true, but because those parts worked better than a lot of the gameplay.
Yeah, because there is that one boss where you have to throw bombs into
oh my god, and then head.
Which I mean that does get very annoying at times, but as a boss battle itself, you don't really have anything else like that in the Zelda series.
No,
so
you don't.
That's pretty cool in and of itself, but obviously it kind of is a little bit clunky.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't think is because of the actual concept of the boss fight or the concept of the side-scrolling bit of that game. I feel like that's probably just it hasn't aged well.
Right.
Because I remember thinking how super cool this game was when I first played it, super duper cool. So I feel like things probably worked better back then, and then I've just become older and wiser and grumpier.
Yeah. I think as well though, that specific boss we were talking about is kind of where I got stuck in one of those games. So, I mean, I wasn't the best Zelda player growing up, so I can at least attribute that slightly to it. But
yeah,
it wasn't the easiest boss battle. We can say that.
That's true. It was not, because you have to nail the timing, and it's hard. It's really hard.
And then I think like just overall as well, like they kind of just shoehorn Ganon in at the end.
Yeah, it's weird because there's no indication that he's gonna be there. I mean, there is if you do like the transfer,
Yeah.
but the build up through the game, you're like, oh, okay, the villain is respective villain of this game. Da da da. Okay, we completed it. Yay! And then it's like Ganon is here, and you're like, what?
Like, okay, cool. I'm shocked, obviously, because Ganon's here, but all right.
And then like the Zelda appears and she's gonna be sacrificed, and I'm like, why? Why is she here? Couldn't she stay where she was?
No, she had to come.
Because we already have like I guess damsels are women in need of rescue who
Right.
are Din and Nehru.
The other one.
Yes, because Ferror is green.
The ones you meet in those fantastic anime cutscenes.
Yeah. That was another thing. I know that it's graphical issues. Because they had like color limits.
Right.
Again, same thing as Link to the Past. But I was really bothered that Ralph in one of them didn't have red hair. It's like Ralph has red hair. I mean, I guess Link has black hair in this, but he's very blonde still, guys. But Ralph didn't have his red hair. I'm like, oh, boo.
Another knock against these games, obviously.
Give Ralph red hair. A positive is there is a kangaroo with boxing gloves.
There is. I didn't pick him though.
What?
Yeah.
Who did you pick?
The one that can swim.
Was that Dimitri or?
I think that was Dimitri. And he could eat things.
Nom nom.
He would swim and he would like chomp on everything. Which I think was like it was beneficial like for like the early parts of like the first one we played, because like there was a lot of like swimming sections and like you just like boop done. So that helped.
So Ricky is the kangaroo.
Yeah.
What is the other guy's name? I need to know. There's three of them.
There is.
I can't remember the other guy's name either. I can't spell Dimitri, apparently. Frick. Sorry, I'm trying to Google and I'm not doing a very good job. Dimitri. Is he the swimming guy? No, he's
I'll see the other one.
He looks like a Triceratops. He's a Dodongo. He's red. He can swim, yes.
We remember a lot of this game.
I didn't know Dodongos could swim.
Well, now you know. Thanks, Capcom.
Also. So I want to ask.
Okay.
Since we're doing a Zelda podcast.
Okay.
If somebody's listened this far.
Okay.
We had a discussion last night. How do Gorons reproduce?
Oh, right. It was the other day. We were trying to figure out how Gorons have kids.
Are there women Gorons? Do they just do like sponges and drop a rock off of them and it becomes a child? Like, if somebody knows the answer, please let us know. Because it's making me crazy. I bring this up because there are Gorons in this game.
There are.
Because they're like, oh, hey, these were in Ocarina, so we're going to put them in this game too. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! I think it did some things okay, and it did some things very not okay.
Could have been better.
It could have been better. Moosh is the other one.
Yes, that is correct.
I
I was just almost there. I could have told you.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah, I'm on the page right now for Dimitri.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. Oh, well.
I thought you meant off the top of your head.
No, I would not be able to tell you off the top of my head.
Because neither of us picked Moosh. Oh, what a rude couple of people we are.
That's true. The rudest. Rude and crude.
Um, so I think based off of, all right, I'll just ask you flat out. Out
Okay.
of the Zelda games that you've played recently, 1, 2, Link to the Past, Oracle games, which was your favorite?
It's going to be Oracle Seasons. I mean, either Link to the Past or Zelda 2.
I would say I'm pretty sure it's a toss up between Zelda 2 and Link to the Past for you.
Like, obviously, Link to the Past is so good
Mm.
in terms of like everything that it refines and does well, but Zelda 2 is weird
It
and
is.
cool. It's like,
And you
yeah,
get a kiss.
you do. I think, yeah, it's just a toss up between those two. Like, I think those are like the best of the best out of those 5.
Yeah. I really liked that Link to the Past like had a pretty extensive story,
Mm-hmm.
whereas like Zelda 2 and the original Link, Legend of Zelda did not have an extensive story. I think that as somebody who plays games, pretty much saying like, "Hey, I want a good story. Give me a good story now, 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 now." I was real stoked. There's like a lot of mystery and intrigue. Like your uncle wakes up and there's a girl who's talking to you, and your uncle's dead now, and you have a princess out of a jail cell, and you have to go get the sword, and now you're in the dark world. What the heck? Like, it's so good. There was a lot to it, and it was a really long game too.
Yeah.
Like I said, it took my
Well,
brother
depending on
and I-
how long you play it.
Right. Well, if you're not me and don't finish it in a freaking day, whoops. But I mean that says something though, that Keller and I spent an entire summer with our cousin playing this, and then like now I can go back and play it and finish it in a day.
Yeah,
In a
true.
literal day. But I've also again memorized it. There are very few games that I have completely memorized, and they're both Zelda games.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah, if you know me, it makes 100% sense. We should have done this for the 30th, but oh well.
We should have. But we should also talk about the greatest Zelda game that I own, Hyrule Legends on the 3DS, the great version. You don't want to get the one. You don't want to play this on the new 3DS. You want to play this on an old 3DS. You want to get that hot 10 frames a second. Get that hot like 20 people on screen at a time.
So I love Hyrule Warriors. Like, I am unashamed to say that I love that game.
I mean, you are a fan of like Dynasty Warriors and those Muso type of games.
I love those games. And so when they announced they were doing Zelda and Dynasty Warriors together, I was like, yes, sign me the f up. Like legitimately, I was so stoked, and I've put so many hours into both versions of that game. It's wonderful. I used to play the most recent Dynasty. Actually, I think no, I was gonna say it probably went back to 7, but I used to play Dynasty Warriors 8 quite a bit when I was like stressed, and then it became Hyrule Warriors because I was like, yeah, I want to play as Link, of course. And I have the scarf that he wears. It's really, really good. I love that game. I legitimately could play it and endlessly and be fine.
I know a lot of people give like the Muso games a lot of shit just because of like how,
And they're wrong.
like I guess kind of just like how they haven't really like iterated on that franchise or anything until 9 now, which apparently they're going to. But like these games are like just, you know, these are very good games for if you want to just like sit down, play something, or you don't have to concentrate, and just like you want to zone out, chill out,
and kill thousands of people.
Yeah, kill thousands of people. These are your games. Maybe don't play the 3DS one.
Unless you have the
Unless you have the new 3DS. Don't play it like
Yeah.
I did, because man,
I had the new 3DS and it plays fine.
I'm still glad I played this game because I enjoyed it. And there's a part of me that also just enjoyed the fact that I played like the worst version of it. So it felt like I was playing a game from like the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was like a bad PlayStation game that had frame rate, graphics, and played like but and that's a nostalgia that I did not know I had.
That's so funny.
But this game allowed me to have that.
And you get to play as Linkle.
I did. Linkle was cool.
Linkle was cool. I liked her. She'll never be seen again, but I liked her.
Yeah.
But I love that game. So again, they can fight me if they dislike it, but
everyone's just gonna fight you.
It's so fun, like to just sit there and for a few minutes, like it's less than 15 minutes, just destroy 1,000 people as whoever you want from the Legend of Zelda series. I mean, not whoever you want. Don't do it as Agatha. That's a mistake. But I mean, Link, Zelda, Ganondorf. You want to be Zant? Okay, be Zant. That's fine. Do whatever. But it's so fun. It's so fun.
So fun.
I like it. It's so fun. And also, I have Link in his like classic, like Zelda 1 and 2 outfit on mine, and it's wonderful.
Not surprised there. He has no pants.
And he's got the swoopy brown hair.
I mean, you can play as Tetra in this game. Obviously, that makes it 10 out of 10 IGN.
Heck yeah. Also, you can play as the King of Red Lions, which is so funny.
True.
Like, he's not a very good character to play as, but man, he's amazing because he can turn into a boat during gameplay.
Because why not?
Why not?
See, that's exactly what they should have done with this game. Is just like make it go weird, and they did.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Like, Fi turns into the literal master sword when she attacks at points. Like, of course, why not?
So dumb. So dumb, so good.
I think you mean great.
That's what I mean. So dumb, so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Zelda games I've played.
Nice. We're gonna make you play more because there's a
Yeah.
lot. And then we'll do Zelda games
Part 2.
episode part 2.
But
And look forward to it, guys. It's gonna be fun.
it'll come next year because we'll delay it like 30 times.
Well, and it'll take some time for you to get through those because they're longer games.
Right. Anyways.
Anyway, Legend of Zelda.
The Legend of Zelda.
It's a great series.
One day they'll bring it back.
Hush.
Zelda 3 coming soon.
I guess if you are interested in listening to us talk more about Zelda games, you can listen to our NES Classic episode or our Breath of the Wild episode.
Which obviously the Breath of the Wild one is a spoiler cast, so be aware of that in case you have not played that game and want to play it and don't want to hear all of the hot spoilers in it. Which really there's not much story spoilers, but I mean there's hot gameplay mechanic spoilers in there.
There's some story. There's a big story spoiler.
I mean there is, but like that game doesn't have like a super in-depth story that takes like 30 hours. That's all story is what I mean. Like it's not like a lot of story.
Right. And I think there's also a spoiler warning at a certain point. They were like, hey, turn it off if you don't want spoilers.
There is. So we have a general impressions in that, so you can listen to that part until you get to the spoilers, and then you got to peace out. That's the law.
And then you can listen to the NES Classic episode and listen to us talk more about Zelda 1 and 2.
That's true.
And harass Jared so that he'll play more Zelda games.
That's true. You can harass me on the internet at Anime Checkup or at the website seasonanimecheckup.com or sac.cool.
I'm sure you can also harass me about my opinions because I have lots of them.
It's very true. Go to the website and you can read through my Persona 5 thing.
You can?
And you can also go to Ladyem.com and read through all her thousands of articles she wrote in the past few weeks.
I'm sorry, I kind of went nuts.
It's
It's
cool.
what? There's the one on Anne from Persona
There's the
5.
Persona 5 and one. There's the JoJo and Progressive Ideas one. There's the Persona 5 review thing, and
Ukulele
the ukulele review thing.
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 So there's a lot of stuff there that you can read, and I would really like it if you would.
You totally should. They're all very good. Very, very good.
Gracias.
Hashtag very good.
Hashtag very good.
Next week, episode 23.
Shrug shoulders.
Well, we have an idea.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We have an idea. I'm
It
glad
depen-
one of us has an idea.
It depends on, well,
If you beat it,
I'm going to beat it in between now and the
Nice.
next time we record.
nice.
I guess
I'm
it-
so excited for this one.
I guess it would depend on if you beat it, but I don't necessarily think so. I think you'd be okay.
I don't think that I necessarily have to beat
Okay.
it for us to do it because it's one of my favorites, and I have so many thoughts on it that I don't have to beat it.
It's a game that you have hounded me for probably ever since we've known each other to play.
Probably.
It's a game that people in your family have hounded me that I should play through you. It's a game that I knew basically through its soundtrack before I had really played it.
I can't believe that you actually played through the Final Fantasy 15 demo and played the soundtrack for this.
I mean, what other soundtrack is I going to play? It's the best soundtrack in the series.
It's the best soundtrack in the series, but now you're actually getting context for the soundtrack.
I am. And
And
every
you're
time
like,
I was yeah!
These are some hot jams.
So yeah, we might, depending on if I beat it or not. I mean, I'm playing a version that, the way I'm playing that game, it completely breaks the game.
You're playing a broken version.
I'm playing
yes.
the super, super broken version of the game, so I should be able to beat it. So yeah, next week we're probably going to talk about Final Fantasy VIII.
Maybe we will all be lions.
Maybe I will be the man with the machine gun and actually know what that means, because I do know.
Nice. Now you do. How come you get to be the best character? That's unfair.
I'm sorry, you want to be the best character? You can be the best character.
I want to be the best character.
Be the best character.
Yay!
Carry around a machine gun.
I am Laguna.
Get a leg cramp.
I mean, yeah. Also, I'm awkward with people, and so is he. It makes sense.
There you go.
I'm really looking forward to that. So I hope other people will look forward to that because I've literally been trying to get into play Final Fantasy VIII forever.
We had an idea for this episode, or at least I did, where it was gonna be you telling me the story of Final Fantasy VIII, and that would be the episode. Which, knowing what I do now, that would have made no sense.
It wouldn't have made any sense at all. It would have been hilarious.
So I'm glad I'm doing it this way instead of that way, because man, that would have been, my brain would have not been able to function.
Hold on to your butt because it's gonna get weirder from where you are.
Yeah. I just imagine there's still parts of that game that I don't know. Like there's a specific thing you told me about that I'm still trying to wrap my head around and trying to think if I know what that is now or not.
I think I've told you 2 things at this point that you should be like, huh, that's weird. So
That's
we'll
just
talk
me in
about them
general.
next week.
We'll talk about them next week. So look forward to me being like, a lot about Final Fantasy VIII next week.